You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. For the first time in 4 years, Phnom Penh put on a full celebration of the annual Water Festival, where dragon boats from each province race to gain glory for their hometowns. Prime Minister Hun Manet expressed his appreciation for the collaborative efforts that made the massive event possible. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has the story.
Millions of people descended on the capital city for the 3-day celebration that included boat races, floating lanterns, and boats decorated with lights at night. People also made offerings to the moon for the change in weather and a plentiful harvest. Prime Minister Hun Manet praised the organisation committee of the Phnom Penh City Hall and all the relevant ministries and institutions for the corporation organising a smooth, safe and joyous water festival for the first time in 4 years. The Prime Minister and the First Lady were among many to celebrate the festivities, along with King Norodom Sihamoni, who presided over the opening and closing of the boat races. The Prime Minister commended the racing committee and the athletes involved in the boat race for working hard to produce a race that adhered to the spirit of solidarity and mutual respect and made the event an overall success. He also thanked the ministries, institutions, and private companies for participating in the huge event. While millions of people attended the large water festival celebration in Phnom Penh, celebrations attracted domestic and foreign tourists across the country, giving hope to the arrival of the Cambodian tourism. Government spokesperson Pen Bonner interpreted the festivities successful and a clear evidence that Prime Minister Hun Manet's leadership guarantees peace and social, political and economic stability established by his father, former Prime Minister Hun Sen. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Today marks the 1-year anniversary of the inclusion of Cambodia's Bokatau martial arts style being inscribed on the UNESCO Intangible Heritage List for embodying the kingdom's social, cultural, and religious values. Its recognition as a vital part of Cambodian culture has led to a more prominent position in the minds of locals and the international community. Bokatau is a traditional Khmer martial art that has been deeply rooted in Cambodian society for centuries and has survived to this day despite the odds. While the ancient style is depicted on the walls of Angkor temples, the Khmer Rouge era nearly erased the art's history. Luckily, a few brave Bokatau masters were able to hold on to the style and pass it on to the next generation. Since being inscribed on the UNESCO list, Bokatau has only gained in popularity, highlighted by the 2018 documentary Surviving Bokatau, which saw its first national theater release this year. Cambodia has 6 pieces of intangible heritage on UNESCO's list, along with 3 physical sites, including Angkor Wat, Preah Vihear, and Sambor Praikuk temples. Kristen Winters, EAC News. You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. As of this morning, Cambodia ranks 3rd out of 35 participating countries in the 7th Vovinam World Championships in Ho Chi Minh. So far, Cambodian athletes have garnered 17 medals at the competition, 5 gold, 3 silver, and 9 bronze. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has more.
The native Vietnamese fighting style began as a self-defense method in the 1930s, but has since crossed international borders, with Vovinam training centers being established across the world. The 2023 World Championship being held from November 22nd to 30th, with more than 650 athletes from 35 countries are competing for 44 sets of medals. 3 gold medals for Cambodia went to Paul Chonsme in the women's singles, Chuck Sommerly in the world's 60 Ks category, and 4-man team, the swordsman, yesterday. Prime Minister Hun Manet congratulated the Cambodian Vovinam athletes for their success. President of the Cambodian Vovinam Federation, Ul Vatana, emphasised that winning 17 medals and placing 3rd in the 2023 World Championships shows the potential of Vovinam in Cambodia. This year, Cambodian athletes brought home the most medals in the category during the 2023 Southeast Asian Games. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. The Cambodian Human Rights Committee, or CHRC, says the human rights situation in the nation's prison system is improving. The committee conducted its own assessment and said that conditions regarding diet, vocational training, medical care, and access to exercise, religious freedom, and books are all in accordance with the law and ensure prisoners' human rights. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has more.
CHRC Chairman Kia Rami noted that the improvements while leading the delegations to meet the General Department of Prisons today at the Correctional Centre No. 2. While there, officials held a talk on cooperation and monitoring of human rights situation in prisons. The purpose of the visit was said to be an inspection of the current conditions for detainees, especially pregnant women and children who live in the facility with their incarcerated mothers. The CHRC and the Prisons Department said they would continue to work together to address issues to improve the human rights situations in prisons. To this end, the CHRC has placed complaint boxes in prisons and correctional centres to encourage reports of human rights violations. The department claimed the installation of the boxes reflected its own strong will, transparency and integrity to regards the prison's management. The CHRC thanked the Director General of Prison Department and the Capital Provisional Correctional Centres for their close cooperation in protecting the rights and freedoms of their detainees. According to the UN Human Rights Council report issued in 2021, Cambodia's prisons are at 343% capacity, causing what Amnesty International has called a ticking time bomb. The report also said that the prisons lack of beds, drinking water and fresh air. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. The Cambodia Development Resource Institute hosted a conference today entitled Cambodia Vision 2030 and Beyond, Charting a Path for Resilient, Sustainable, and Inclusive Prosperity. Prime Minister Hun Manet presided over the conference, where he detailed his administration's economic goals. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has the story.
The Prime Minister said, with the focus of the current priority policies and the implementation of measures set out in the past, he expects the Cambodian economy to grow by 5.6% this year. He expects a growth rate of 6.6% for 2024. While he hides high hopes, he also mentioned the possible pitfalls that could deter the government from the economic goals. Over the last 20 years, Cambodia has achieved strong and sustainable economic growth at an average rate of 7% per year. Cambodia thus achieved a low middle income status in 2015. Meanwhile, trade volume via domestic production has increased nearly tenfold from 3.1 billion in 1998 to 29.6 billion in 2022. The Prime Minister also said that the poverty rate has fallen below 10% before the COVID-19 crisis. He said with the social conflict is minimising, the economic structure has shifted from the traditional agricultural economy to a value-added industry and service economy. He reminded the crowd about his father win-win policy in 1998, when former Prime Minister Hun Sen allowed Khmer Rouge defectors to join the government. Prime Minister Hun Manet said that he built a strong economic base for development in the market economy system. He then laid out his administration 5 priorities, including international trade, foreign investment for infrastructure, strengthening existing infrastructure, developing human capital, and institutional reforms in the political, economic and financial systems. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. The National Bank of Cambodia signed memorandums of understanding with China's central bank to enhance confidence, security, efficiency, stability, and inclusion in the financial sector. On Tuesday, People's Bank of China Governor Pan Gongsheng and NBC Governor Chia Serai presided over the ceremony in Beijing and signed 2 memorandums. The first MOU focuses on cooperation in financial innovation and payment systems to enhance the security and efficiency of cross-border payment transactions between Cambodia and China, and to promote innovation and the adoption of financial services technology. The second MOU aims to strengthen the capabilities of the Cambodian banking sector to better serve the increasing bilateral trade, investments, and financial flows between China and Cambodia. By innovating financial products and services offered by Cambodian banks to Chinese investors, the MOUs hope to enhance Cambodia's competitiveness and attractiveness as an investment destination. Kristen Winters, EAC News. You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. The World Economic Forum is an independent NGO that engages political, business, cultural, and other leaders of society to shape global, regional, and industry agendas by acting as a mediator. Yesterday, Prime Minister Hun Manet welcomed WEF Asia Pacific Director Jo Uk Lee to the Peace Palace. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has the story.
Jo Uk Lee thanked the Prime Minister for taking time to allow him and the delegation to pay a courtesy call and brought greetings from the WEF founder, Klaus Schwab, who also said that he has always valued Cambodia and has mentioned the kingdom's potential in the meetings with representatives from countries around the world. He also briefed the Prime Minister on the upcoming 2024 World Economic Forum to be held in Davos, Switzerland, under the theme Rebuilding Confidence. The forum will focus on 4 pillars: maintaining security and cooperation in the fragmented world, developing and creating jobs for the new era, the using of artificial intelligence as a driving force for the economic and social development, and launching a long-term strategy for climate, nature and energy with the participation of more than 2,000 institutions from around the world. The Prime Minister thanked the WEF for cooperating with the Cambodian government in the past, including co-hosting the WEF meeting for the ASEAN in 2017. He also praised the important role of the WEF for bringing communications between the government and the private sector, resulting in the new governmental policies and incentives related to the business sector. The Prime Minister highlighted his continued support for the WEF meetings that began under the previous administration. He also thanked the WEF for the invitation to attend the 2024 forum in Switzerland. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Yesterday, former Prime Minister Hun Sen met with the vice chairwoman of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, where they expressed confidence in the relationship between Cambodia and China in the face of complex international politics. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has more.
During the meeting, Chairwoman Chen Ye stated that her visit to Cambodia further prompt practical cooperation in building a high-quality and high-standard joint venture between Cambodia and China in the new era. The former Prime Minister highlighted China's advantages in participating in Cambodia's development, which he said has strengthened Cambodia's independence. He thanked China for its contribution. During the meeting, the two sides pledged for further enhanced and fruitful achievements of the industrial and technological corridor and the fisheries and rice corridor under New Diamond Corporation. They stressed that in the context of complex international politics, the two sides are committed to supporting each other to maintain peace, stability and development while deepening people-to-people ties. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. A police chief has been summoned for questioning in Kratie province after he interrupted a traditional dance performance at a pagoda to request a permit, shocking the audience and performers alike. The Kratie chief of police summoned the officer for questioning about why he stopped the Lakaun Basak theater performance during a Katin ceremony at the Ang Sno Pagoda on the night of November 21st. Lakaun Basak is an operatic storytelling form of theater that took off in Cambodia in the early 1900s. It is performed during the dry season and generally tells the stories of princes and the evil spirits and comical characters they encounter. This particular performance was in celebration of Katan, a Buddhist festival which marks the end of the monks' 3-month rainy season retreat. Even the head priest at the pagoda was shocked that evening when the police officers stopped the event mid-performance, an act seen as highly disrespectful to a traditional Khmer art. Kratie Police Commissioner U Sobona told EAC News today that the Disciplinary Council of the Kratie Police has collected information and will follow the procedure of the National Police Force. Director General of Cultural Technology, Sion Sopieret, also told EAC News that theater groups are always registered with the Department of Culture and Fine Arts, but that he cannot judge who is right or wrong until he has more information. He emphasized that both the Ministry of Culture and the Department of Culture always encourage and support activities that promote Khmer culture. You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Yesterday afternoon, Prime Minister Hun Manet welcomed Fumiaki Takahashi, president of the Japan-Cambodia Association, or JCA, at the Peace Palace. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has more.
Mr. Takahashi thanked the Prime Minister for taking time to allow him and his delegation to pay courtesy call and attend the fireworks display on Sunday to celebrate 70 years of Cambodian-Japan diplomatic relations. He said that the JCA has been encouraging Japanese small and medium-sized investors to consider Cambodia in a number of areas, including demining, transportation, technical and vocational training, vehicle repair and nursing. In addition, the association plans to open up an office in Cambodia to facilitate Japanese and Cambodian businesses cooperation in the near future. Prime Minister Hun Manet thanked Mr. Takahashi and his delegations for their visit and thanked the JCA for co-organising the fireworks display. He also thanked the Japanese government and its people for continuing to support Cambodia's social economic development during its